Hi, this is János, it's Reverb Audio, and it's time to say goodbyes. So, for several months, it's been a great experience, but all good things come to an end, and today the CJ is going home. My buddy will be coming and picking it up within 20 minutes. So I thought that I will just say a few things about it. Also, the La Grande and my darling amp, they are going to say goodbye to the room, goodbye to the house, and I'm going to follow up on them. So this is a triple goodbye for today. So anyway, for the CJ, I would like to share that whenever you listen to anything, what you have as a first impression will be quite different from a lasting impression. And that's the case for tube amps, loudspeakers, amplifiers as well. And here I would like to remind everyone that even in the case of an equipment that seems to be well broken in, like a decade-old CJ amplifier, if it hasn't been used for several months and then you turn it on, it can take quite a while until it starts to perform optimally. And it's because the capacitors need to get back into shape after a good long rest. And I have to admit that the CJ had a good long rest here in the cat's room, because my buddy Irvin brought it over as he was really curious how they sound with the voice of Lancelot. However, I wasn't able to find a way to hook it up to the voice of Lancelot, because I have over specialized the voice of Lancelot speakers, so they don't have the usual speaker hookup method anymore, and it was just not possible to hook them up. And so I can just hook them up only to monoblocks with really special outputs. Like when you look there, so that's the output. Oh, the camera doesn't want to focus. What's going on here? My apologies. Uh, so coming back to the CJ and the image, I think it looks kind of blurry, and it's set to manual focus. Now, okay, we are back in autofocus. All right. So basically, I wasn't able to listen to the voice of Lancelot, and then in the end, I decided, okay, let's just listen to them with the La Grande, and it was a good decision. They made a really nice combination, and as I said in the beginning, even when I compared it to this darling amplifier, to my hearing and to the cat's hearing, I couldn't play the CJ any louder than the less than 1 watt output darling amp before we all experienced fatigue. And what we have been doing for the past 3 weeks, every day the CJ was playing for 5-6 hours. We were watching mostly Netflix shows on it, and it was a quite pleasant experience, getting more pleasant every day, or I would say every night. And by yesterday, it has quite transformed in a way that the fatigue is now gone from the sound, and the cats can confirm it. So whenever it's playing, they are here, they are not bothered, and but I can say that instead of the fatigue, I still hear when I was playing music yesterday, and there's like lots of high frequencies. Then it sounds like a white blanket over the music, over the high frequencies. And to tell the truth, I still cannot play it very loud because I can hear that white blanket getting stronger. And you would say, some would say that it's the failing of the Legrand of the speakers, but when I play them with the ampex, with the two push pulls, then I can push them much louder without any discomfort from the driver's part. So how did that discomfort sound like? Yesterday, actually, as a goodbyes, I was playing Kate Bush on them, and actually it sounded like a really good concert experience. And I have to tell to it, add in addition, that the Kate Bush album sounded quite a bit more enjoyable on the CJ than on the tube amplifiers hooked up to the Legrand. And why is that? That is because the Kate Bush album is really heavily processed. So she has just so many processing on her vocals. The music, the instruments are heavily manipulated. So there's a lot of effects on it, and all of those effects apparently have been applied and optimized for transistor technology. And on the tube amps, it just sounds so gimmicky it bothers me. So that's an otherwise excellent album with the super talented Kate Bush, and it's really enjoyable, really lovely, but with the tube amps, you just hear too much of the gimmicks, and I really wish they have not overcooked that album so much. With the CJ, it's not that apparent. You can hear the cooking, but it's not as bothersome. And you would say that that's the superiority of the solid state technology. And to the complementary to the other side, I would add that for my ears, what I have experienced is that the tube amp provided more of what was on the recording than the solid state, so I could hear more of the details in her voice. It sounded much more like a human being whose voice was overly processed, and on the CJ it sounded more like a recording, and there was less detail to the tonality of the voice, much less detail to the bass. And I have to add that even with the Darling amp, with the very basic Hammond output transformer, which has quite severe frequency limitation on the low end, despite that severe frequency limitation, the bass is just so much more textured and identifiable than with some of the best solid state technology. And so that's kind of, I think, can be a surprise for many of you who are curious about things. On the other hand, with the CJ, the bass, it was bass, so not instruments anymore. So that's a major difference. How tube amps and solid states represent sound is that with the CJ, whenever I play things that are bass heavy, you can always hear that it has bass, and you cannot attach the bass to any instrument. It's just bass. For the tube amps, there is no separate bass. You have a double bass, and then it's identifiable as an instrument. The sound is coming from a space, from a specific instrument that has three-dimensionality. It has a body, and it's a tonality and texture to it, and integrity in sound. And with the solid state, I have noticed that the bass often just falls apart, and it detaches from the instrument and becomes an entity of its own that is overtaking your room and losing three-dimensionality, losing tonal and harmonic riches. However, despite of that, is really enjoyable, and I can really appreciate that a lot of people are addicted to that kind of presentation, to that kind of voice. And certainly it's truly fascinating, and it's a fun experience. As I said, we have been enjoying the CJ a lot. And for pop music, that experience is really fantastic. But once you go over to classical, or when you want to listen to acoustic instruments, it can't touch even the Darling amplifier with its basic Hammond output transformers. So this is for you guys who want to decide what you want to build, as this comparison is really about one of the legendary solid state amplifiers and a really fun home cheap tube amplifier build. And of course all of this comparison that I made now was with Legrand. And that's it for today. So it will be time to say goodbye from for the CJ, very shortly, and then I'll be saying goodbye to Legrand and the amp. But don't worry, you will be seeing them plenty. They are moving to a different city, a city whose name you all know and will be revealed tomorrow, because surprise surprise, I will be able to show them in their new home, in their new location. But that is for another day. Thank you for watching. Please, if you like the videos, this video, please like. If you have not, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can get notified of my new videos, which used to be even more than one every day, but now it's like a couple videos a week. That's my new goal. And you can get me a cup of coffee in support if you be so kind. Thank you. Bye bye.